What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. And a question that is actually popping up quite a bit through my social media, and a lot of people are asking, I'm going to buy a K1500 or a C1500 or whatever and start a truck build, and what's the first thing that I should do to it? So I'm going to go over the first things that you need to do when you buy an 88 to 98, and more specifically a 96 to 98 Chevy Silverado, K1500, K2500, 3500, whatever. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, it is definitely not unknown that these trucks obviously are old, and they're just getting older year by year. My truck is 22 years old. It's a 1997, and obviously if you get a 96, 95, it's getting harder and harder to find a clean K1500 or clean C1500, whether it be a 2500, 35, what have you, whatever you're looking for. And I'm going to give you guys some pointers to what you should do first off when you start a build like this. And I'm going to explain pretty much anything that you're going to need to know as to why you should do this first and why you should look for these things when you're purchasing a older truck. First and foremost, obviously you want to look for rust or signs of rust. When you go and take a look at one of these, and I'm sure you probably know this, Chevys are completely, they're really well known for rusty rocker panels and rusty cab corners. On a fleet side truck, you definitely want to look for rust in the fenders and the fender wells, and as far as the front fenders go, you want to look for rust along those lines as well. I've been pretty lucky. This truck has been in my family since about 2002, and it really hasn't had too much of an issue with rust. So when you look at a truck, first thing you want to do is look underneath here at the rocker panels. As you've seen in my previous video, I do have a little spot of rust starting up right here. That's a sign probably that there's rust along the whole entire rocker panel, or at least half of the rocker panel. Now when you catch it early and you get it replaced and repaired like it's supposed to be, professionally and the proper way, then you don't have to worry about that anymore. Secondly, you want to notice your cab corners, and you want to notice your quarters on this side of this rocker, where if you have the extended cab model. Obviously if it's a standard cab model, then you just want to pay attention to the cab corners. And you can see on mine, I've got some chips, but I don't have any rust. You knock on it, it's solid, there's nothing falling apart, and it's just nice and easy to to find out if it's rusted through or if it's got any rust. If you see surfaced rust, it's not the end of the world, but you definitely want to get that cleaned up and repaired, resprayed as soon as possible, and get rid of that rust. Specifically, if you're looking into an extended cab model, there's a really easy way to check the insides of your cab corners and these little quarters right here. Now, not all these trucks are going to come with a third door option. Mine obviously has the third door option. If you do have a third door, you want to open it up. If you see any signs of rust at the bottoms, that's not a good thing. You want to look in those corners as well. And to look in the inside of that little panel that I showed you, they've got this little cubby hole. You can slide this out. Now, here's the inside of mine, and it looks like it is pretty clean and rust free, aside from some dirt, which you'll want to clean out of there, because dirt will kind of inhibit rust to form. But you'll look inside here. You can do this on this side and on the driver's side, and see if there's any issues forming from the inside of that. So those are the typical rust areas on the truck. Obviously you want to look at the frame and make sure there's no rust holes in the frame, because if you have any frame damage, cracks, anything like that, it's not going to last you very long, and you'll have to spend a ton of money to get that straightened out. Another big place for rust is on the bottoms of these doors. I've had some issues with surface rust appearing on the bottoms of these doors underneath this little rubber seal, and I've stripped it down and used some rust dissolver, primed it and repainted it, and ever since then I've never had an issue with it again. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the rust goes. Check your fenders, check your cab corners, check your rocker panels, stuff like that. Now, building one of these trucks is not necessarily cheap. While you could pick one up for a pretty cheap price, and most parts are cheap, in order to achieve the clean build or the large build that you're wanting to do, it's kind of quite expensive. You got to put a lot of time, you got to put a lot of money, you got to put a lot of effort into building up a truck. Big question that I get a lot is, how much have I put into this truck? And the honest answer is I really don't know, nor do I want to know. You know, it's an old truck. It's a 1997. I don't want to add it all up. If you really wanted to, like I said before, you could price out all the stuff, the lift, the tires, the wheels, you know, aftermarket stuff, and you could get a good idea of what you're going to spend. And that's pretty much how it is. Now, most of my parts I do source from eBay, Amazon, and guys, when people tell you, you know, don't use eBay parts, don't use Amazon parts, I mean, that's not the truth. eBay doesn't make parts, Amazon doesn't make parts. They just sell and distribute parts from other sellers that are trying to get those out on the market so people can purchase them. Most parts for these trucks are going to be pretty cheap. As far as the headlights, you can get a set of 4 uppers, lowers, and corners for about $65 to $80. And you know, grills, you can get them for around $70, $80. Hoods can get a little bit more expensive if you want a cowl hood. Probably going to spend around $300 for it before paint. Body panels are pretty cheap as far as body panels go, and yeah, everything's pretty easy, pretty cheap for these trucks. Now, one of the first things you will want to do when you pick up one of these, you want to check your steering. You want to make sure your ball joints are good. I know you want to jump right into putting a lift kit on it or putting big tires and wheels on it, but trust me, in the long run, guys, it is better to get your ball joints, get your pitman arm, idler arm, tie rod ends, all that stuff out of the way before you lift the truck, or else you're just going to have problems afterwards. Because once you lift it and put big tires on it like I've got, that's when it's going to start wearing parts out faster. And you'll want to get those parts brand new and replaced and straightened out before you do any lifting. Because number one, it's going to make things last longer and you're not going to have to worry about it for a while. Number two, it's going to make the lift a lot easier to install because removing those parts won't be so hard. As far as the front ends go on these trucks, they're kind of a nightmare. They're not set up to take 35-inch tires or 20 by 12, 20 by 14 wheels, you know, because people, that's what they want to do. You want to lift your truck, you want to go big, you want to make it look good, and those parts aren't made for that. Your geometry on everything is going to be off just a little bit, and if you're running factory OEM parts from 1997, they're obviously not going to hold up. So you want to replace the tie rod ends, you want to replace your control arm bushings, which if you just get a whole upper control arm, it's a lot cheaper. You want to replace your upper lower ball joints, and you want to do your pitman arm, you want to do your steering shaft, you want to do your idler arm, all that stuff to make sure you've got a nice tight front end and it's not going to fall apart on you. You're not going to break ball joints or have the issues that I've. Now, as far as like aftermarket accessories go, to make your truck look better, no matter what color it is, I recommend window tints. Now, I've got a tinted windshield and all of my other windows are also tinted. If you're not used to driving in a tinted windshield, or if your state is apparently really, really bad and really hard about tint laws, I don't recommend doing the windshield tint. However, if you want to do your sides and you want to do your back glass, that is one of the #1 things that I could recommend that you do to your truck to make it look better. Next comes paint matching. If you like the look of a paint match truck, you can get your mirrors painted, you can get your grill painted. Tires and wheels, those are an easy and pretty affordable way to make your truck look better. Afterwards, you could work on the lift kits and you could work on the roll pans. You know, some people like to do engine work first, which is what I should have done, and I regret not doing the very first off. So I could recommend all that, but to start out, definitely window tints and definitely a different sound system, because the stock sound system in these trucks aren't the best. You'll want to add some speakers in the back. That way it makes your sound a lot more full. But other than that, guys, those are pretty much the first mods that I would consider doing on a truck after you first. Aside from window tint, I cannot stress enough to you how much better it is once you get a set of aftermarket or even new OEM style headlights. If you look at these trucks, every single one of them that you see that have not been modified in any way will have extremely yellow fogged over headlights and extremely yellow fogged over turn signals. The easiest way to make your front end look better is to get you a set of clear housings or clear lenses, black housings like I've got, clear lenses, chrome housings, or even just a fresh set of OEM style lights will clean up that front end a lot better. And of course, guys, there's all sorts of stuff you could do to these trucks. You could lift them, you could lower them, you could bag them, you know, you can make a mud truck out of it, whatever you want to do. There's all sorts of information out there. I could recommend GMT400.com as a huge source of information for modifying these trucks. LS swaps, Cummins swaps, Duramex swaps, all that stuff's been done. Honestly, guys, the results and what you could do to these trucks are pretty much unlimited. So those are just the things that I recommend you guys do. Those are just the first things that I would look at, the first things that I would look into doing once you pick up one of these trucks. And some of the stuff that I wish that I would have started out with first, such as the engine over the lift kit. But no matter what, I'm happy where it's at right now. It's only going to get better from here, and I definitely encourage all of you guys to build up your trucks and make them what you want them to be. We said that's the whole point of this build, is to show that people could take a 20-year-old truck, make it look good, and make it keep up with other trucks of the new age. So that's what anybody could do. If I could do it, you could do it. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for stopping at the channel. If you like the channel, please subscribe. Please hit the like button or the dislike button down below. Leave some comments on what you want to see. If you've got questions, feel free to post them down below, and I'll try to get to them best I can. As always, guys, thanks for watching. We will see you next time.